Hi everybody. So you'll have to forgive me here. This is my first time using Keynote, so I'm going to be hopping in and out to show you some tools. So you'll have to bear with me. So this talk is about it's about design. Now, obviously here, well, I imagine everybody here is a developer, same as myself. But I work in a small enough startup called Orali. And we don't have a dedicated designer. What we do have is we have 5 other people in the business, between business people and devs, who all use iOS phones. So the designs that come down to me as the Android developer are inevitably always full of iOS conventions and so on. So it can be quite tricky for us to, or for me anyway, to share that knowledge across the company, as to what makes a good Android design. So we've had to come up with our own sort of workflow as we've gone along to try and keep things, fluid. They're more concerned with the business side of the business, and I'm more concerned with code. So nobody really wants to do any development work. That's just a little bit of background on me there. Used to work in Accenture as a consultant, got sick of that, wanted to do some code again. My background then in college was in computer engineering and TCD. So in terms of the workflow that we came up with, we found 2 great products. They're called Sketch and Zeppelin. So Sketch is it's a product that you can use for creating designs. It's like Photoshop or Illustrator, but like it's simple. Again, back to the harping on about the point that nobody actually wanted to put any time into this. So I'm going to briefly run through how to create a mock-up, how to improve that mock-up using some of the again hacks that we've figured out, and how to do it faster. And then the second thing is Zeppelin. So it's another product that you can actually use it as a design spec. So instead of writing up more documentation and plugging it into design documents, you can just use this. And you can use it then to export assets that you'll be using in your app. So first off, Sketch. It's a tool, as I say, for building wireframes. So I'm going to jump into like an example that I came up with today. I originally had called this something like horse directory, but one of the lads was like, I call it Tinder for horses. And I was like, absolutely. So it's a contrived example. It's pretty simple. So title, picture, some metadata, description or whatever. So in the Android world, we use text view, image view, text view, fairly simple. And you might end up with something like this, which kind of looks a bit shit. So this was built in Sketch, and I'll jump out here and I'll show you what Sketch looks like. So there's the mock-up built in Sketch. So this one here on this side was actually one that I asked our business guy to put together before he actually saw this. And I gave him the assets and the content. So he gave me that. And this is what sort of shit that I used to have to put up with from the business team until we started using Sketch, and I gave them templates that are freely available from Google Online, and they could drop them into like screen sizes like this and use kind of common elements, and they got a better understanding of how that sort of thing worked. And like this is really, really slick as far as I'm concerned. Like these are all off-the-shelf solutions. If you're say a freelancer and you don't have a whole lot of time to be building up designs because you're doing a lot of contract work and you want to put in bids, you might not win that bid, so you want to spend as little time at the design stage as possible. So anyway, I digress. So we have this kind of like base design and we want to improve upon it. So what can we do? Some of the quickest things that we found out to make the biggest impact that we could do was to the design were to add the standard kind of Android components, use the default dimensions from Material Design, and then to just add a splash of color. So flying through those, the templates that we just saw, the ones that you saw were the sticker sheets and icons from Google, and the actual this design here on the right-hand side came from the first link there, which is Material Design Wireframe Kit, and they're just 2 really handy off-the-shelf things that are free to use. The licenses are pretty open, so they're well worth having a look at. So adding the standard Android components, you get something like that. Already looks a lot more reasonable. Still looks a bit shit. Then the next thing we discovered were that Google has pretty much designed the internet for us already. So why reinvent the wheel? So if you have a look at the Material Design guidelines, I know there's always a bit of a disparity between how easy it is to implement those and what they look like on their design guidelines. But one really simple rule of thumb that I discovered was just make everything multiples of 8TP. So have your margins 8TP or 16DP. Have your headers, 16, 24 DP apart. They're all there in the design guidelines. One example is just there for a 2-column left-aligned list. You have a 16 DP margin. they're, I think, like 48 wide, 72 in, and then you have 16 on the other side as well. Just keep things symmetric. And like this, as I say, it's all for free. There's no guesswork in it. You can take a shitty looking design and apply that, and it just looks a bit better. So applying it to this, you get that. And like this is 5 minutes work so far. The last thing then I would say is add a bit of color. So again, we had no designer. We had to pick a color. So we picked blue. Everyone likes blue. It's pretty non-offensive. But we had no idea what to put blue with. So we opened up this is a pretty handy tool. It's called Adobe Color CC. And you just pick your complementary color, or pick your primary color, and then you can pick complementary colors or compound colors, and it will recommend something else to use. What I used for Tinder for Horses, though, was so you can take like a picture or an asset, and you can feed that into the application as well, and it'll just throw up a color palette. But we're now about 7 minutes into your redesign. So adding the color, it now actually looks like a pretty like slick production app that you could not be ashamed of. Well, it is Tinder for Horses. Of course, you're going to be ashamed of it. Nobody wants that on their phone. So yeah, like that's it. Like less than 5 minutes, start to finish. You've gone from that to that. Or I didn't even want to put in the one that the business guy gave me to start with. But like it's a pretty reasonable thing to do. Sketch is the name of the tool. It's available, I think, only on Mac. And I'll put up these slides afterwards, and you can grab the links to those various different assets, and it'll just make your life, if you're doing any sort of design work, it'll make your life a whole lot easier. So skipping on forward then to Zeppelin. So it's all well and good. We have these designs now in a sort of a pad sort of style thing. Now you want to be able to use these assets and use these designs in your Android app. So some of the strengths of Zeppelin, I'm going to jump out here again. The first one is exporting assets. So I'm sure a lot of us have like worked with screen sizes of, shit, I left it in my bag. Oh no, I have it here. Screen sizes like that, and screens like that. So it can be very difficult to get the assets always in the right sizes. You have to communicate to your designers or to your business people, or do it yourself, and create assets in the various different pixel densities, unless you maybe have a script or something to do for it, which I did not. Zeppelin makes it very easy to export things in different sizes. So here we have the picture of this horse, and off the right-hand side, you see we can export that into a folder, and I exported them here earlier on. So it just drops them out in that format there, which is super handy. Then for something a little bit simpler, you might want to use, say, a vector drawable. And again, you can see you have the option to export it as an SVG. So like, all this sort of stuff saves time, so you can get back to actually doing proper development work. In Zeppelin there a moment ago, you might have also seen that it gives you the pixel density. So here, this one is like, it's match parent. So the width is from like parent to parent from start to end. It gives you your pixel density offset from the top and then from the bottom, and it gives you that for all of your different resources. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of your designs. And then finally, if you're into this sort of thing, like, you can collaborate with other people and ask their opinions. But and it integrates with Slack as well. So if somebody pushes something from Sketch, it's a hotkey. It's Control E or something. You can get a notification into your Slack channel of some updates and so on. So yeah, promise it would be brief. Oh shite. Sorry. So just quickly to recap, Sketch, design tool, easier than Photoshop and Illustrator. Check out some of the slides there with the templates. Zeppelin, collaboration tool, easy to export assets that you've dropped in. Like, it does so much of the work for you. I actually haven't read this book here, but one of the lads recommended it to me. He said, Design for Hackers, Reverse Engineering Beauty by David Kadavi. Probably butchered that. But he said it's all just really common sense stuff. You can drop into it. It's like clean code for design. Material design guidelines, obviously, just you can dip in and out. Whenever I make a new feature, say I'm working with a card or something, and if I haven't got it in my themes already, I'll just drop in there and I'll see, like, your elevation should be 2 dp, I think, and your corners should be 4 dp, and your offset from the sides should be 16 dp, and it gives all of your offsets for headings, subheadings. What happens if you have an image underneath? How do you offset your buttons? Like, all that information is already there for you. Like, as Barry was saying earlier on, don't fight against the themes. Like, a lot of it's just already done for you. And what this didn't touch on was prototyping. So again, back to if you're doing a lot of freelance work, Sketch actually integrates nicely with InVision or Pix8. They're both two prototyping applications, so you can sketch something up in Sketch pretty quickly, and then you can launch it onto a phone, and people can play around with it and so on. That's a whirlwind tour of two tools that make my life a lot lazier. So I hope you get a chance to try some of them out. And if anyone has any questions. Yeah.
Just really quickly, what kind of prices are you talking?
So Sketch is about €100, and it's a once-off license. And Zeppelin, I'm not 100% sure, but they do have a free tier, so you can have up to 2 projects for free. So we're not currently paying for it at the moment, so we just have the one project. But we probably will be in the future, because we have like an iOS project and an Android project, and if we ever go web, we can use it for that too. Yeah, there's a question over here.
I was just saying, Sketch is a professional design for Mac. Can you use it for web and for Android as well, or is it only for iPhone?
No, so like it's just for Mac. It only runs on Mac computers, but you can use it for web, you can use it for iPhone. Some people like write their own notes in it, like they'd use it like Evernote. I don't know why you would do that, but you can use it. You can use it to design whatever, but it doesn't run, say, on the Windows platform. But you could design a Windows application using templates, or you could build your own. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
In terms of price, what are you thinking for Tinder for Horses?
This guy here will pay for it. So I think I'll do a bit of market research and see what the demand is like first. Anyone else? Cool, sure, I'll leave it there. Thanks.